Okay, it's that time of year where you never know what to wear, and even if you did know, you'd be wrong by the end of the day. It's that classic Midwest joke. We have all 4 seasons in one day here. Literally woke up 37. End of the day, it's supposed to be 71. It's like, have you guys ever seen those photos of your friends from the Midwest where like one's like in a swimming suit, flip-flops or sandals or whatever, and they're standing next to someone like with like a thick hoodie and they're like bundled up like it's cold? Okay, maybe we're weather confused, but maybe one's dressing for the afternoon and one's dressing for the morning. I've had my foot stepping out on like the soccer field for my son. It just get completely... The grounds are sopping wet from the winter. The spring showers are coming. That it's still time for boot season. And just because it's spring doesn't mean that we have to give up on some more of the vibrant and lighter options. If you didn't know, I do this series. I have 5 main boots that I'm allowed to kind of like have out and rotate through. It's just the way my space works. You can go back to earlier videos to see that. But what I do is I have this rotation where I choose a brown boot and a black boot for obvious reasons. I've called it the red the last few videos, but it's really the go anywhere, do anything boot, the Gadeb boot, okay? And that's typically red or green, but it's something that just goes with any color. You could just leave them downstairs for the weekend, come down, they're ready to go no matter what outfit you decided to put on. I have my 4th boot, which is the work boot section. In spring, this is the most important section because of all the crappy weather and the mud. Looking forward to talking to you guys about that today, and as well as my experimental boot that I'm kind of messing with. And this is one that I've been trying to get to, and I haven't been able to prioritize really to do an honest, good review about it. So that's my promise to you, because I figured out something with the winter boots with my Thursday captains that I kind of want to share with you today. All right, so let's get into this today. My brown boot, and this might shock some of you. I don't know. This is an extremely light colored boot. This is natural Kangaroo. Okay, this is actually the Ottawa boot pattern from Grant Stone in a natural Kangaroo. And this was my first boot in a Kangaroo leather, and I quickly became obsessed. But what I like about this Ottawa is you kind of have like this split toe approach here, and I don't know if it's actually a split. I don't think so. It looks kind of like a skin stitch almost. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't see where it would be separated. I think it's a skin stitch where they pinch it together, but we have this split toe basically effect where it gives it more of a dressed up look. But then when you flip it over to the bottom, you got work on the bottom with these treads, right? So it's one of those boots where you can wake up in the morning, take your nieces and nephews to whatever they're doing, right? Whether it be some type of Easter egg hunt where it might be sopping wet outside, or maybe you're taking them to some type of a sporting event in the afternoon. Maybe you go to your own event, like going to the baseball season kickoff and such. To the evening, going on a date with the wife. These boots do not disappoint and absolutely deliver on all of these storefronts. The Kangaroo leather is extremely flexible, which is useful for, I think, particularly in the muddy situations when you can kind of like roll a little bit. The boot gives you enough support, but also gives you enough flexibility and comfort that you're usually in a good spot. I actually had these in a previous spring. This is my first time doing YouTube during a spring, so I just kind of wanted to bring this out and show it to you guys that we are coming up on spring. A lot of clothing manufacturers tend to have lighter, more vibrant colors. This is a way that you can kind of blend into that without the more heavier browns per se. And it doesn't have to be obviously Kangaroo. You can look at natural leathers of any type. And I think it kind of helps blend into the spring a little bit better. Let's move on to our black boot. And am I cheating already? I might be cheating. I'm definitely cheating. This is cheating. This is technically a gray boot by name. This is called it's the 79 last, but it's a double shot leather in charcoal. Okay. And when we say double shot, a lot of people are in love with Chrome XL from Horween. Well, Chrome XL is it's a combination tannage, a double tannage, so hence the double shot name from this, where it's both chrome tanned and vegetable tanned. And you kind of get the best of both worlds when a tannery decides to do that, in my opinion. These are extremely supple and soft. They break in so buttery smooth and quickly to your foot, which is beautiful. It's got a lot of oils packed into it, so any damage that happens to it, you can kind of just rub it and buff it out and quickly get the scars away. But what really drew me to this particular one is they mentioned something about how, well, don't expect a T-core anytime soon. And I was like, T-core? I accept that challenge. I am more than happy to beat the crap out of this boot and understand that this might take several years. But when you look at kind of like where you have the patterns kind of like sewed on, you can see kind of like it's like a brownish leather. So if I can beat this black up a little bit and start to get maybe some of the brownish hues, you can see how the brown matches both the cream of the stitches on the boot as well as the cream welt stitches here, that you could potentially have a really beautiful boot here with the soft double tannage leather would typically have been coming from like a T-core dedicated boot. Oh, and my battery went out, so we're gonna do the rest of this video without that camera angle. But in all honesty, I think black is just unnecessary for every season. There are certain outfits or styles that it feels off if you don't have the right color combination of boot. And honestly, with some of the wet, dark days, I think a black, dark boot is still necessary, even with the vibrant colors of spring coming out. And last but not least, this is one of those boots where I have kind of like a surprise. I've worn this, not that much, but I've worn it at least like a dozen times. And I don't, where's my crease? Like usually when you first putting on a boot, you got like a little crease that's like, what's up? I'm moving in. I'm new to the neighborhood. I'm going to be bringing a couple of my buddies here in the next couple weeks. Just so you know, this is where we're hanging out. And I'm cool with that. I'm like, all right, what's up, man? Grab a drink. Let's talk. We're you and me, we're going to be good friends. We're neighbors now. I have not seen a single crease really start to form yet. And maybe that's because of the thicker nature, that if you look at how Truman cuts this leather, it is still very thick, and maybe that helps add to kind of some of the resistance, maybe the high quality leather too. But this is my first double shot experience, and I'm not saying I'm anti-Chrome Excel, but I'm just saying I'm really excited to see where this takes me, because I've been super impressed with this leather so far. It's a beautiful leather, really holds up straight, and I'm just excited to see where it takes me, particularly with these treads. That it's a very nice boot. All right, up third, and maybe I'll do my cameras a little bit different since here my cameras, my camera angles here are dying on me. But this is my brass boot, but it's in Jungle Kangaroo. So this is a different last. Now, why I wanted to bring this one up is, well, one, it got demoted out of some of the previous attempts to wear this. I thought I was going to wear this more in the fall, just didn't get to it till later. And as I got to it later in the fall, well, then we had some problems. We got some problems because this leather sucks in the winter. It is not a good insulator at all. I'd put it, I mean, any boot's going to be better than a sneaker, like a mesh sneaker designed to be cool. But I would say this is probably one of the lowest animal hides you could choose for insulation, in my experience. Obviously, I'm probably off on that. I'm just saying, compared to cowhide, compared to cordovan, this is not the one you should reach for in the winter. So I'm bringing it back, and I also think the green kind of brings out some of the spring colors a little bit better. But what I want to talk also about this is this particular pattern. The brass boot is a work boot. To me, the brass boot is a heavier boot than the Leo last. I think having the Kangaroo lighter leather, but still bringing in some of the durability and toughness. Honestly, when you look at some of the, am I going to call this patina? Like, this didn't exist when I showed this to you last time. Like, look at these markings. This was not here. As this boot patinas, I don't know if it's just the Jungle or if even natural Kangaroo does this, but look at this. Actually, I do know, because my naturals aren't coming out with more markings like this. This is coming out more. These darker elements are becoming darker than when I first got it. And that is extremely exciting. I think this is one of the things that boot lovers, I think, really enjoy, is watching their boot tell their story. I don't know how well that comes across. And I know I'm sorry that the second camera died here in the middle of filming, but maybe I'll take some other shots here in a second. But this is just such a gorgeous way for a leather to evolve and continuing to tell my story about how I wear it. So Kangaroo leather, very excited for the spring. Sucks in the winter, no matter what anybody tells you. But it combos well with what I think is more of a heavier, rugged, thicker boot. That it actually is a great combination. All right, workhorse boot time. I am beyond excited about this. I have not purchased a boot since this. This is my Christmas boot. We're here in March. It just got here. This was an MTO offering from Truman. I've had it for I think I've had it for 5 days. I've already worn it 3 days. That should tell you how excited I am for this, because I've never had Java waxed flesh. fun story here on YouTube, we I think share and learn with each other here. I actually compared, I think it was like a passing comment, like, oh, like the waxed leathers, such as, Waxy Commander, such as Java Wax Flesh. And someone's like correcting me. They're like, hey, this is a rough out. This isn't a suede. Those are totally different. And that actually got me even more excited to make sure that I pick up at some point in my life a Java Wax Flesh from some maker. And when Truman offered this it was like 25% off for Christmas, where I can MTO, customize it to my likings, putting the Stormwell with actual leather. I don't know who the hell knows what they're doing in the future, but actual leather on their 20 last, which is perfect because it's kind of got a tighter heel, but then like a E-width here at the ball of the foot. This was made for me. I absolutely love their 20 last. Actually, it's my sneaker size, 11, because I'm normally a wide 10 double E or 10.5 E. Type of boot guy, that this one just really worked out well for me, particularly with like the treads. You'll notice every single one of these boots has had some deeper treads. I've learned my lesson. Spring boots need tread is really what the story is for me. If you didn't know about Java Waxed Flesh, the story is this is a rough out leather where they iron on a wax basically on top, which adds to the weatherproofness. As the wax gets damaged, flakes off, essentially, you will reveal the lighter colored kind of rough out down below. I was about to say suede. And that adds like a beautiful coloration to it. I'll put up some other people who have had theirs for a while. Actually, if I've got a belt that is a wax flesh, but I've had that thing for about 6 months, heavy rotation, and still the patina is still kind of coming in. It's not worth bragging about just yet. So it takes time. It doesn't just fall off like it's nothing, which means that it really is your story. As you wear your boot, it really is the damage of where maybe you have your driver's heel, or maybe where you kick the curb or the car. If you've got like a car well that's kind of low to the ground. My favorite actually is if you've ever looked at the bottom of leather sole boots, sometimes your left boot will have a little circular swirl on the heel. And they call that like when you step out and twist your foot, it creates kind of like a circular pattern only on the left side of the foot. So it's always interesting, the story your feet tell. And Java Wax Flesh is one that captures that very well. And you can see even after only 3 wears, even look at this tongue. You can see how it's starting to kind of show the waves after just a few wears, which, that's not a Java Wax Flesh story. That's a story of any tongue, but I just love the way that this is already starting to wear in and kind of start to, after just 3 wears. It's just a beautiful looking boot. And the 20 last is what's going to make me say goodbye to their 79 last. I don't think I'm going to buy any more 79s from them. I'm not an anti-79 person. My foot is an anti-79 foot. It's just too stubby, and the extra width of this being E at the ball adds a lot to the comfort. So this is a great boot for doing anything. There's nothing I don't feel comfortable wearing this boot to, honestly, except maybe a wedding. I've got plenty of other boot options for that. All right, and for my last boot, I got to admit, I kind of failed you guys really bad here. I promised a video. I made a promise to the community. When I bought, this was my first video ever, was I bought this basically monster of a boot from Thursday Boots. It's the Challenger boot. I thought it was interesting. I've had experience with a couple of Thursday boots, and I've also been having a disappointment with them. You guys saw in my winter video, I mentioned that, I have neuroma sometimes, not caused by Thursdays, but it was agitated, I noticed, by certain boot lasts and styles. And I invested into figuring out whether I was going to keep the captains or not. Dedicated video on that in the future. And I have the same question that I need to answer with these. With that said, the Vibram 100s on the bottom here, I just can't believe how they show no damage whatsoever. I haven't worn these enough to really be like, yo, there should be something here. But I wore these in this winter. I wore them a little bit in the fall, just not enough to really give an honest review of it. And that is something, as an independent boat reviewer who has no sponsorships, plans to spend his own money on all products to give a really just very personal view of it. I need to get to that level here. And there was a lot of hype and controversy over this boot when it launched. So I haven't really given myself fairly to this boot yet. So that is something that I've dedicated that I'm going to do this spring. And honestly, it probably looks more like a fall boot to me, but the dedicated review to come up more specifically about my specific things I'm investigating with Thursday, but I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the slope of this last with the heel. You'll see it in all the new boot like collaborations that they're doing with Rose Anvil and Carl Morawski. Now that I see it, I can't unsee it. And I saw it before, but it was never an issue. But now that I was experiencing neuroma, I was having an issue. I've never experienced neuroma wearing these boots. It's not a problem. You'd think I would, but that's what we're going to find out this spring is what's going to happen with this boot when I really start wearing into it. So it's a CF Stead Rambler, which means it's a suede that's gone through a shrinking process to bring the fibrils close together. It's got basically finished flesh side out, so it's got a beautiful veining and marbling effect to it. It is a really beautiful boot to kind of pay homage, I think, to more of like the logger style work boot, but it's still kind of like a shorter, it's like 7 or 8 inch stack height here, basically. Not too bad, but the thickness, you've got a lot of rubber and leather underneath your foot, which I think should be comfortable and maybe not give me the same issue that my captains have been giving me. But like I said, dedicated video on this because I was impressed with some of the stuff that we did this winter. Let's bring it into the spring and see if we can continue having it perform the way I need my boots to perform. This is not me telling you what to wear. This is just you walking through my thought processes. Maybe some of it will be helpful. Maybe some of it is something that you guys provide feedback, like, for example, with the Java Wax Flash, where you educate me on certain things. So let me know what boots you guys are looking forward to wearing this spring. Don't give up just yet. I know we're breaking out the sneakers, and particularly in the summer, maybe many of us put the boots away. Maybe I'll do a summer video. I was actually planning on skipping the summer. I do wear some boots in the summer. But yeah, no, I will join kind of like more of a shoe person lifestyle in the summer. Let me know if you guys would be interested in kind of seeing just some general summer footwear as well. Look forward to hearing more from you guys in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Una, peace out.